Scotia, and welcome. My name is Dawn Beaton. Thanks for joining us here at the Centre for Cape Breton Studies at Cape Breton University. We're excited this week to welcome guitarist and singer-songwriter Cyril MacPhee. Cyril MacPhee's professional music career began when he was 18 years old. Growing up just outside of St. Peter's in a musical family, the young musician was immersed in Cape Breton ceilidhs and heavily influenced by his father's Scottish and Irish fiddling, country and bluegrass music, and folk singers like Stan Rogers. His musical influences are extremely varied, from the Beatles to Harry Hibbs, and this shows through in his songwriting and musical style. He released 3 albums with the popular power folk group Breton Tradition before embarking on a career as a solo artist. This singer, songwriter, and skilled guitarist has since released 2 solo albums. McPhee has versatility in his music that is a truly unique blend of folk, country, and Celtic music. So stay tuned as we celebrate Cape Breton Island's living Celtic culture. My name is Dawn Beaton, and we're here today with the always entertaining Cyril MacPhee. How are you doing, Cyril?
I'm doing great, Dawn. How are you?
I'm great.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. It's always nice to see your cheery demeanor and catch up on...
You say that to all the guys.
But I really mean it with you.
Sure.
So you've, welcome back. You've just been on quite an extensive journey there.
A little bit, yeah. It wasn't too bad. Driving in Montreal is a little bit not what I'm used to.
Yeah.
I was playing Can You Spot the Cape Bretoner in Montreal? That kind of thing, yeah. So, no, it was great. I did some gigs in Ottawa and mostly around Montreal and Eastern Townships. And
wow.
It was awesome, yeah. It was great.
So how long a period are we talking?
Almost a month.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh, you have been busy.
Yeah.
Wow. And so what does the next kind of couple of months look like for you?
Well, it's basically the summer thing that happens every year. I've been playing at the Celtic Lodge for 20 years now, so that's my main gig, and then I do the resorts and anything in between. It's whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I'm not digging ditches.
There you go.
That's the drill.
And then, of course, in the fall, you'll be...
Back to... Same thing. I finished my schedule in Ingonish around the end of October, middle of October, just after Celtic Colours, and then I do a dinner theatre show in Sydney. Been doing that for like forever.
Right.
A silly show.
You've I've seen. Is this a show that I'm thinking of? You've been a character. What was the name of the priest that you?
Oh God, I have no idea. Something Howie McDonald calling me. I can't. Didn't need I say any more?
But you're multi-dimensional. You not only sing and songwrite, but you are an actor, comedian.
Acting would not be what I would call it. No. I'm up there acting, but I wouldn't call myself an actor. It's just something else. You have to do whatever you have to do to make a living in Cape Breton Island. That's just one more thing.
Yeah.
If you want to make a living at it.
Right.
You can't argue with what comes at you. It's like, sure, I'll do that. Why not?
It's entertaining and a great cast to work with as well.
Awesome cast to work with, and also it's still music, because we still do music, and it's different music than you'd normally do, because we do Christmas music, which is really different than Celtic music. So it's all good. Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of the fall, a couple of years ago, you were the artist in residence for Celtic Colours.
I was, and I was so grateful. That was so cool.
Yeah? Well, tell me a bit about that experience and what it was like for you.
Well, just knowing that I was going to be anywhere near John Doyle was pretty cool. Him and I got to spend a little bit of time traveling around and working together, and it was the whole experience was, I don't even know how to explain it, because we were doing the Breton Tradition reunion as well at the time, and it was fabulous. There was so much going on. I never had a second to think about it. And hosting, I did some shows, as you know, and I got to meet all the artists and do that. But John Doyle was just awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
Quite a gracious man to be.
Yeah. Just to be involved in that whole process to me was awesome. And last year with the Rankin thing too, last year.
Yes.
That was really cool.
Yeah, tell us about that too. You were involved. That was a show at the Savoy.
We did a tribute to the Rankins, and there was a whole lineup. Marilyn McDonald, and there was who's the lady from
Rita Rankin.
Rita Rankin
and
one from
Helena Bloom.
Helena Bloom, yeah, and Jamie Robinson and that crew. I mean,
and Ashley
Kim
McIsaac.
Dunn and Ashley McIsaac and
Mac was involved. Yeah, there's quite a crew.
It's great.
Yeah, and that comes together relatively quick as well. I mean, there was some work, in the summer, and as many of our projects go, you have to plan these things months in advance.
There's a lot of work to it. I mean, we worked probably the whole week at the Gaelic College working the tunes and stuff, although there was a lot of foolishness that went on. Yeah, Kim Dunn's a character. We had a lot of fun.
You get to see other sides of people that maybe the general public doesn't get to.
Yeah, and that's the only time you get to see those people.
Mm-hmm.
Like normally you're off doing your own thing and working, like yourself. Like I see you when there's a function.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're off, you're doing your thing and I'm off doing my thing. And that's the only time we get together and not play music and have a laugh and
enjoy each other.
See how you're doing.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point that Celtic Colours can be that conduit of bringing people together because people have such busy lives, and it's a bit of a homecoming in it.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, I mean, I see people every year that sometimes I don't see forever. Last 2 years ago when we went to Ireland, Scotland, Glasgow, Phil Cunningham was in the house, the opening band for Paul Brady.
Yeah.
And I did not want to leave Scotland without seeing Paul Brady, because Paul Brady's he's like the god, like John Doyle. And I sent a note back to him, and he got us tickets because we couldn't get tickets. Yeah, so we ended up getting to see the concert. It was like, wow. So, I hadn't met John. If I hadn't met Phil Cunningham over the last 15 years, I wouldn't have been able to get in, basically. So it worked out in my favor.
You're talking a little bit about Celtic Connections and Temple Bar Festival that yourself and a couple of other Cape Bretoners were involved in maybe a year and a half ago.
Yeah, and Wendy McIsaac and that group, Seth Peters and Mary Jane. Seth Peters is one of my favorite guitar players, too.
He's a lovely guitar player.
Sweetheart.
Yeah.
What a great guitar player.
And he's kind of come into it later in life, too. I mean, he's just such a steady.
He came out of nowhere, as far as I'm concerned, because I saw him a couple of years before that, and he was, he'd hardly even played, and then he came out on stage last year or the year before, and I was like, oh my God, wicked.
Yeah,
wicked. He's a really nice guy. He's really too tall though. I was calling him Kayak, because if you stand a kayak up beside yourself, that's what he reminds me of.
So does he respond to that term?
He didn't take me too seriously, let me put it that way. Thank God.
So you had lots of fun over in Ireland and Scotland.
It was a great experience, yeah. It's awesome.
It's good to see other parts of the world and what's done there.
Strange thing. I felt more at home in Ireland than I did in Scotland. Yeah. Is that a weird thing? Because how you feel like you've arrived? Because I've never been to either one. I thought Scotland, because I'm Scottish, that would make a difference. But I was actually more comfortable. I felt like I had arrived when I got in Ireland.
There you go.
Although I got there late. And the guy that came to pick me up at the airport, I got in his side, the one with the steering wheel.
Oh, right, yeah.
Never drove. Oops. Yeah.
Well, now you're just kind of alluding to it a little bit there. What's your background in terms of your mother and father, and what's your lineage?
Heritage?
Yeah.
My mother was French Acadian, a Bork. Her lineage was Bork, B-O-U-R-Q-U-E, which is Burke now, over the years. And my dad was Scottish, and he spoke fluent Gaelic. We lived about 2 miles down the road from Joe Neal, the storyteller.
Yeah.
And he was at our house a lot. And they used to speak Gaelic, and I just absolutely loved it. I had no clue what they were saying.
Yeah.
But I used to love it. And he never taught us Gaelic. We never, except for the bad words.
Yeah,
I have the bad words in Gaelic, and I have the bad words in French. Other than that, no good to me. And,
that can be useful at times.
I don't know. It gets me in more trouble. French works great because it's sort of French-English. My family, like oué le salt truck. There's no such word. There's no French word for salt truck.
Right.
So when I play in Shetty Camp, I just, play it up for everything it's worth, and I still don't understand a word they're saying. But they accept me for that, for whatever reason. I think that's pretty cool. Anyway, so my dad married my mom, and there was 7 kids in the family. And by the time I came along, they weren't speaking to each other, so they didn't teach me French or Gaelic.
So do you think you'll get into learning?
No,
either?
I can't retain it.
No?
Tried, yeah.
Really?
Haley's French immersion. Haley.
Is she?
Yeah.
And this is your daughter?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And she's tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably one of those things that's better to absorb when you're quite young, but it's not to say that it's impossible by any means.
No.
There's some really great stuff happening in
I
there.
think phonetics would work. I sing Gaelic. I sang Gaelic when I was in Scotland.
You did?
And I played guitar for Jeff McDonald and sang Gaelic, but he wrote it out phonetically for me, so that's it. If you write it all out phonetically for me, one of the best.
Well, speaking of songs, I would love to hear a song. What are you going to sing for us today?
I'm going to sing a song by Arnold Sampson, and I recorded it on one of my CDs. It's called Civil Conversation. Mm-hmm. And it's a little story about a gig one night, and this person came in. It was a very close friend of his, and said something which I thought was really funny to him, but she didn't think it was so funny, and she never spoke to him for 20 years.
Oh.
So the song basically is you never know when something's going to come back and bite you, so you shouldn't get too upset about stuff, because what goes around comes around. So eventually, 21 years later, this person came back, and it was like there was no real rhyme or reason why she didn't speak to him for that many years. And after she left, he wrote the song.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's pretty cool.
I didn't know that, so that's...
Yeah. It's kind of a John Prine style thing. They call me a Celtic artist, but I'm really a real folk artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to hear it.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Thanks, Cyril.
You're welcome. Must have been the words that you said. I guess I lost my temper, went out of my head. I haven't been the same again since then. Oh, what a surprise when the world goes around and it brings you back the way you began. Funny remark, thought I'd give the folks a laugh. Just a little one-liner that included an event in your past. The color in your cheek didn't look too rosy to me. By the time I'd figured out about the trouble I'd made, you were on the road away from me. Where does the road go? Where do you come from? Where are you going? Are you surprised to find me here? If I hadn't said something that I don't remember, then there'd be no need for civil conversation like we're having right here. A full pond and much to explain about. In the brilliance of imagination, there could be no shadow of a doubt. I probably had nothing to do with either you or me. Oh, how I wish I could remember that snappy one-liner that sent you down the road from me. Where does the road go? Where do you come from? Where are you going? Are you surprised to find me here? If I hadn't said something that I don't remember, then there'd be no need for civil conversation like we're having right here. I tried and tried and tried to say what I mean, but a play on words has always held a certain fascination for me. Likewise, my ears think they're pretty smart too. Sometimes when you're down the road, they can't hear you. Where does the road go? Where do you come from? Where are you going? Are you surprised to find me here? If I hadn't said something that I don't remember, then there'd be no need for civil conversation like we're having right here. Where does the road go? Where do you come from? Where are you going? Are you surprised to find me here? If I hadn't said something then there'd be no need for civil conversation like we're having right here.
To keep up with Cyril's busy schedule, visit cyrilmacphee.com. We'd like to take this time to thank our sponsors who have been so gracious to assist us in the production of this podcast. Imagine studying music on a beautiful island known for its deep roots in music and culture. Cape Breton University offers a music program like no other in Canada. With an emphasis on traditional and popular music, CBU's music major provides an exciting alternative to conservatory-style classical or jazz music programs. Their course offerings are unique. The music theory courses are aimed at the needs of contemporary musicians and help you understand the music you play. In the applied music courses, you get to study with teachers who have worked with names like the Bear McNeils, Ashley McIsaac, and Natalie McMaster. Through work placements, you will gain experience in the music field tailored to your interests, whether it's studio experience, promotion, tourism, or artist management. Through the optional business minor, you can add smart, real-world management skills to the creative talent you develop. The ethnomusicology focus lets you explore local traditions, popular song, as well as music and dance from cultures all over the world. Their issues-based courses will immerse you in the debates that shape music today.
Cape Breton Island has magical effects. Your ears will delight. Your legs will walk through time. Your eyes will fill with wonder. Your arms will embrace. Your heart will never leave.
Well, thanks very much, Cyril. That was great.
You are welcome. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Good civil conversation.
Good civil conversation. It was.
We'll continue the civil conversation here. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the songwriting process for you, because you've got such a great catalog of songs, and I'm just, not being a singer or a songwriter myself, I'm always curious about what it's like for you, or the conditions to write a song, or how long it takes, or that sort of thing. So maybe you can speak to that.
Oh wow, that's a loaded question. Could take any time and lots of time. I did a lot of co-writing. I'm actually just bought a recording setup for my house, so I can more pre-production than post-production, so I can get some. I have a whole raft of melody ideas and song ideas, and Haley's a writer too as well. So it's going to be a combination of her and me, or me with all original songs and her.
Okay.
But to answer your question, melody comes first.
Okay.
And then lyrics after that. So that's how it worked. And I love co-writing.
Yeah.
Love co-writing because you can just, especially with somebody that can sit down and say, oh, that's really dumb. Let's do it another way. Because you can say something a million ways.
You can.
You know, and if you listen to the pros, like I sometimes I'll listen to Gordy Sampson and go, wow, where did that guy fall? Like, what tree did that guy fall out of? Seriously. Songwriting is just amazing. And Steve McDougall, and there's so many good ones. And just in Cape Breton, Buddy McDonald is, I'm afraid I'm actually saying this on camera, right?
On the record.
Buddy McDonald is awesome. He's the real Cape Breton troubadour, as far as I'm concerned. You're welcome, buddy.
He'll pay you later.
I don't know.
And I think it's interesting to note that, because there's something really special about the quality of the songwriting that has come out of here. Yeah. Not just as of late, but for decades and decades.
And I'm just touching on a couple of people. There's more than just one genre of music. Dylan Guthrow and all the young guys and the young kids, Bria McKinnon. Wow.
Carlton Stone.
Carlton Stone, yeah, that was the one I was looking for, because I'd be in trouble if I didn't mention him.
Got your back.
Thank you. Yeah, so there's so much to choose from here.
Yeah.
And the world is smaller than it used to be. As far as artists are concerned, people are really reaching out there, and you still got to get out and play in front of the people. You have to. I found that. I mean, it's one thing to have a website online, but you got to somehow figure to draw the people in there to get interest in you. So I do a lot of my live performances. I sell more CDs, and I get people interested in line. It's still it's a little bit of a balance, but it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who have you written with and co-wrote in the past?
Breaking Tradition, we did a lot of co-writing there. Roger Stone and Luann Bona, and at the time Bona, and that crew. And Arnold Sampson was really the main guy. He passed away a couple of years ago, cancer, unfortunately. But I always thought that he was, he wrote songs that appeal to everybody. You know, that really, you sit down and you go, wow, he wrote that for me.
Yeah,
kind
and
of
that's
thing,
kind of the mark of an exceptional songwriter.
An exceptional songwriter, yeah. He wrote a song, one of the songs that I recorded on one of my CDs, and it's called Mrs. Farthington. And it's to me, it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of thing.
Well, you've touched a little bit on Breaking Tradition, and certainly in your role as artist in residence, that was a reunion year of sorts. For
Yeah, that was timing.
Yeah.
Worked out real well.
It worked out so well.
Yeah, it was perfect.
So how long ago, what's the history of that band and how that came together?
Well, when I moved back to Cape Breton and decided to do a solo, what was happening was that everybody had a job. We all were working jobs at the time, so we were mostly playing in the summertime and 20 gigs a year, and you can't make a living doing that. So basically I said, I want to do an album, and I'm going to go out on my own, and do you guys want to do this on your own, or do you want to be, you want to keep your jobs? So that was that kind of thing. Everybody kind of went, no, and for good reason. They had families to look after and that. So I decided to go on my own and record some of the original songs that I was really interested in recording.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it happened. But Breaking Tradition, that was when we did the reunion, it was 18 years. We hadn't even played together, so that was...
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was cool.
It's amazing how fast time goes.
Yeah, and it's like riding a bike.
You just fell right back into it.
Yeah, fell right back into it,
yeah.
Just the harmonies and the songs. It wasn't a job at all to put it back together. It didn't take any time at all.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's the best kind of reunion.
Yeah, and we got to play some of the better, thanks to you guys. We got some great stages out of it too, as well as the two original gigs, because we were only planning on doing 2 gigs, one in St. Peter's and one in, just to see, and we had no idea what kind of response. You talk about online response like Facebook.
Yeah.
We did one of the shows we did was in St. Peter's at the Lions Hall, and when we first talked about putting the show together, they wanted to put on a concert, and it was like, no way. Breaking Tradition was like the beer bash kind of. I don't think anybody ever heard us. They were all over the dance floor and drinking and having a good. It was just a really wonderful atmosphere,
Yeah.
And the night we played in St. Peter's, it wasn't just the parents. It was the kids of the parents that were coming to see us 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And they all knew the music because they grew up listening to all the songs, so they knew the words. And every second person had a scrapbook with all the Breaking Tradition stuff in it. It was the coolest thing.
That's a great feeling.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. It was humbling, It's like, wow. Didn't realize we had that kind of impact on the community, So
there you go.
that was cool. Yeah,
That's
it was
great.
really cool.
And then in terms of impact to your daughter, Hayley is a wonderful artist in many respects.
Thank you.
She's performed with you on stage numerous times.
Yeah, and she's done her own Celtic Colours shows a couple of times, which was great. Yeah, she's a great little soul. We love her.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep up with her.
She's busy, and she's done a lot of, what's interesting about her, she's doing a lot of photography for other musicians too.
Yes, which is really cool. I don't know how that happened. I think Bruce Guthrow started that off because he asked her he liked her pictures and he wanted her to do Dylan's album. She had nothing for a camera at the time, but she did it anyway.
Really?
But then it kind of snowballed from there, and people seem to really like her work, so
yeah,
that's great because it keeps her attached to the music as well. And
yeah, I think that's great. I've seen her do some wedding photography, and then Coeg's latest album, it's unreleased just yet. I saw some sneak peeks of what that's going to look like. So
yeah, it's a really cool thing to have, as a resume as well,
Yeah.
But she's so involved in the music. She was sang with me the last 4 nights in English at the Celtic, and she just loves it. The way I look at things when I play, I'm nervous. I'm really nervous. No, seriously, yeah. I'm not the kind of guy that goes looking for people to, crowds, but it's my lifestyle, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she's kind of the person, she walks out into the audience and kicks off her shoes, and she's just so relaxed, I could,
She's quite at home.
Yeah, she's like right at home. I'm like, oh my God. Until I start to play and the music and the audience starts to come around to,
Yeah.
you kind of feel out what the audience is like, and then I can kind of relax. But up until I know the first two songs, it's like, oh, I hope they like me, kind of thing.
And I think we all go through that. So
Oh, yeah.
you got to settle in and get the vibe.
Yeah, it's not as bad as it used to be, but
Yeah.
one time.
Oh, I would never have thought that.
Yeah.
Another thing that you had mentioned before moving back to Cape Breton, and I think sometimes for some people it's a choice to stay and live and make this work to live here in Cape Breton. But you've been living back here in Cape Breton for a long time.
Long time, yeah. Well, when Haley was born, we owned a house in Waverley, and we just didn't want to raise her in Halifax.
Yeah.
We didn't want that city life, and we had an option to move home because it didn't matter where I went. I was going to get on an airplane or jump in a car and go anyway, so it was really easy. And Verdina was going to be. That's one decision we made very early into the game, was that like one of us was going to be home with her all the time. Absolutely, without question.
Yeah.
And paid off in spades, I think. But you can't, some people agree with that, some people don't. But in our case, I think we did the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it means the world to have you here. And I feel like asking, Nova Scotia to me, what's Nova Scotia or Cape Breton to you in light of the song?
It's everything. No, it really is. Cape Breton is, I love it. My first solo gig was at the Celtic Lodge, and I'd never seen the Highlands. Seriously. Like, I lived in Cape Breton, but I lived away from Cape Breton for a long time. But
yeah.
Well, and I probably saw it as a kid. I don't remember, at one time I had a sister who lived there. But my first, probably week at the Celtic Lodge sealed my fate. It's like, I couldn't imagine what it was like for the people who first came here and saw this place,
Yeah.
And the people and what it means to the people and the music. And the people are so friendly. I traveled a lot. Everybody's like, I meet so many people at the Celtic Lodge, and that's the thing they take away every time. It's like, God, people are so nice,
Yeah.
That's what I want to be Cape Breton to be remembered for,
Yeah, and continuously so for forevermore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the music is only part of it.
It's an element.
It's an
It's
element
a
of
way
the
to
whole
kind
thing.
of a means to an end to showcase it.
Because at places like the Celtic Lodge, especially there, I keep bringing that up because this seems to happen the most. They don't remember what they ate. They remember the view.
Yeah.
They won't remember what the room was like. Really, whether they care or not is irrelevant.
Yeah.
But they will always remember the experience in the sitting room, which is the music, and the friendly bartenders and the friendly people that are making them feel like they're part of the house party.
Yeah.
That's really what it's all about.
Yeah. Kind of like Maya Angelou with your insightful quotes. I might just ask one more question. What's your favorite Celtic Colours memory or moment over the years? Do you have? Is there any one moment, or is it bigger than that?
There's a lot of them, but probably my favorite was the first year Haley did a show with me in the little train station
in Orangedale.
Orangedale.
Yeah.
And she had never done the show before. She'd never done Celtic Colours. She'd never been in Celtic Colours before. So she just basically was kind of learning. So I think the second song she played was Mulligan-Tyre. I can't remember exactly. I know that was the song.
Yeah.
But I didn't say anything because I knew what was going to happen. The crowd was going to start singing.
Yeah.
And she'd never experienced this before. So she hadn't got the first two words out of her mouth, and the whole place just lit up. And I looked over, and she was like, yeah, she was absolutely floored. It was my favorite moment because it was the first time she realized what this was all about.
Yeah.
She'd played at the Celtic before, and she'd sang, and she got very good response. But this was like, this is what Celtic Colours is all about.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, that's really touching.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that was such a memorable.
That's
moment.
just one of them.
Yeah.
There is a lot of them.
Yeah.
Everything that happened during Celtic Colours to me was great.
It's always worthwhile.
It's always a good experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
John Doyle.
Yeah.
That was fun. John
Yeah.
Doyle. Playing guitar for Jeff McDonald.
Yeah.
The opening Port Hawkesbury.
Yeah.
Magic.
Nice to be on a big stage, reaching out to all those people.
Singing Gaelic that I don't know how to sing.
But it's in here. It's in here, Cyril, right?
Yeah, the word that comes to mind I can't say. Gaelic.
Gaelic. Well, I can't wait to, maybe I'll bump into you at the Red Shoe or somewhere
Actually,
down the road.
Yeah, I think there's a festival going on this summer. Kitchen Fest or something. I'm doing some work. I think I'm doing a show at the Shoe and one in St. Peter's at the Bedore Lakes Inn.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll see you there.
We'll see you somewhere.
Yeah. Hopefully even sooner than that. Always fun to
It's been a pleasure.
You, Cyril.
God love you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And thank you. We'll leave you now with a vignette of Cape Breton tradition bearers Father Francis and Janet Cameron. Here they'll speak to what our culture means to them.
It was there. We were hearing it, and we got interested in it. We were humming it and singing. We'd go to bed. We'd be singing music.
Yeah, that's
rolling. Oh my God! It was. And another thing in the early in the music bit, we sang in the church. Sundays and weekdays. Her, myself, and Isabel, and a little bit Maggie as well. We all took our turn daily, every day. So we were singing Gregorian chants, playing fiddle music and Gaelic songs.
And that's the truth. And you got to see the huge beauty in that Gregorian chant, even though at the time we were learning the Dies Irae, it wasn't so funny. I think that it fills us up. We have got to be filled up with those beautiful things, and it doesn't have to be that you're full of music from Inverness County or whatever. I think you have to be filled up with this background that was in your life, and then learn to, as you go along, I think learn to see the huge beauty that's in other music and in other cultures, and of course we're stirred by the Celtic stuff because that's what we know best, and it does fill us up. I think we should all be proud of whatever culture, and I think that myself, that I am proud of this culture, but I also want everybody to be proud of their culture too, because it has given us such life, and it has made us alert and respectful of it. But I still want that to be done by other cultures, and they are doing it, We probably were a little slower realizing, and maybe it's just getting older, as Isabel says to me. Don't be saying old, say you're getting old. How about that?
No, that sounds good.
Yeah.